Good evening, it's Dave at All Important Reviews, and I've got with me another Homage watch. This is by the manufacturer U1001, and this is their model U6710. And I know exactly where they've got that model reference from, because even the model reference is, if you will, homaged from the watch, a Rolex watch called the Rolex GMT Master 2, which is a discontinued model now, where they have the black bezel and black dial. I think they discontinued it in 2019. But Rolex's model that this is homaged from is the 116710 LN, which is an unbelievably beautiful watch that has, very similar to this, black bezel, black dial, green GMT hand, and fully solid stainless steel bracelet with polished center links. Now, I picked this up a few weeks ago because this is nearly half the price of a Pagani design and Parnis watch. And as you know, I'm a big fan of the Parnis, Pagani design, Bliga models that I believe do very good homage watches to, luxury watch brands like Rolex and so forth. And this one is not the same spec monster as a typical Pagani one. So it does not have 100-meter water resist, and it does not have a sapphire crystal or synthetic sapphire crystal. But it does have a ceramic bezel, and it does have a fully machined solid stainless steel bracelet. And this is basically going to be a full review of it. So let's start with the basics. So as I've just mentioned, this is the 40mm model, nominal. Ceramic black bezel, beautiful black piano dial, loomed markers, GMT functionality, so it has the GMT complication in this watch, Cyclops, so it will give you 3 time zones. I believe it is 316 stainless steel. I will double check that in the spec. Doesn't have an exhibition case back, just solid stainless steel. Has a machined fully solid bracelet with an interesting clasp that again is similar and has a good mechanism, but I'm going to talk about why this clasp is actually inferior to Pagani's, even though the locking mechanism, look at that, the locking mechanism feels good, it is released too easily. But with the safety catch on, is it ever going to actually come loose? I would say no, but still, it shouldn't come loose that easily. So that's the basic specs out of the way. It's an automatic watch. Again, the movement, I believe, will be a pearl movement of a clone of the NH35. I'll put the spec down in the description below. I'm not too bothered about the spec of the automatic watches because, as I've mentioned 50,000 times, they're all highly inaccurate unless you buy something like an ETA movement that costs hundreds of pounds, which I'm not interested in, because they're even those are nowhere near as accurate as a quartz. So let's have a look at the size of it. So nominally it's supposed to be 40mm. So the bezel is actually the bezel is around 40mm. Thickness. Now the thickness in some of the spec said that it was 11.5mm. Now the real Rolex GMT Master 2, this model I believe, the one it's homaged from, is about 12.5mm. This, I bought it because it said it was 11.5mm. Now that's total crap. It's 13.7mm. So it's a thick watch. It's probably because these cheaper movements that create the GMT functionality, they, to create that complication requires more internal work, more internal you know, cogs and whatnot. And so that's why I believe it is a thicker watch. So it's not 11.5mm, which is what they state in one of their specs, which would be fantastic. It is beefier. It is 13.7mm. So it's over 2mm thicker than they said. And that does have an implication. I don't, as a general rule, unless the bracelet is also thick or it's a big watch, I don't like watches that are too thick. I don't like watches that are above 14mm thick. Now I've got G-Shocks that are 16mm thick, nearly 20mm thick, but that's a totally different watch for a different purpose. You know, on these watches that are stainless steel with heavy bracelets, I don't want that to be too thick generally. So that's a downside, is that the thickness is 13.7mm. Some other people might disagree. However, it is not significantly top heavy and it is still very comfortable. The crystal is a hardlex, I believe, so it's not a sapphire or a synthetic sapphire. So this will scratch more easily than the Pagani design crystals. The dial has perfectly fine black, piano black, very jet black dial, not sunburst, which is good. They've done true to the original in that the Rolex that it's homaged from also has a green hand, and it says "The World Is Yours" limited edition, which is a little bit corny. I'm not the biggest fan of their branding. That's very bland. U1001. That is going against it. But ultimately, it's not a cluttered dial. The dial is acceptable. It looks broadly similar to the original, if you will. It is a screw down crown, but it only has 30-meter nominal water resist, so it would be at your risk if you took it swimming. Feels okay. Doesn't feel too amazing. Feels okay. Now, Cyclops, moderate magnification. Can't really see any big problems there. Little bit of QC issue with the actual text on the window. It's not perfectly aligned there, I don't think. The alignment on the bezel, oh, this is the thing. On the bezel, it is a ceramic bezel, but it feels really weird. It almost feels like it's only got 30 clicks. Does not, feels like it clicks, it kind of misses one, then clicks. It's really weird. I've not felt one like this before. So I'm going to say that's going against it, although I don't know if that would produce, if that's a QC issue or whatever it is. I don't actually know what that is. But the bezel looks fine and it is ceramic, and there's no blemishes on it as far as I can see. But two things are going against it. The alignment is not fully right, which I'm not too bothered about. And its action is poor. It's unidirectional, but it's poor action. I don't understand what the issue is there, or if that is an actual design function or whatever it is, but it's not. It doesn't seem fully right to me. Okay, the size of 40mm is a sweet spot. Perfect sizing for my 7¼ inch wrist. Let's talk about the case back. I've not even took the stickers off fully there, sorry. Just a completely plain stainless steel case back. I would have liked to have seen a window, but who cares? It's not the end of the world, that. Again, this watch is being sold right now in a deal for 36 GBP, which is unbelievably cheap. This is another reason why I bought the watch. I wanted to see what you can get. The bracelet links, the bracelet is fully solid, and they are completely solid in there. No issue there. That's given a little bit of play. That is on that side. A little bit. But ultimately, it is a solid bracelet. The bracelet tapers very similar to other Homage watches like Pagani design and so forth. The links are about 3mm thick, 2.7mm, with screw pins. Now here's the interesting part. The clasp looks just like any other Rolex Homage style clasp. However, the mechanism here, even though it works fine, although that can be a little, the safety catch can be a little bit difficult to pull up. The problem is that system there, the way that that notch, that trigger thing works, it's not even a trigger, because it's not a separate piece. That is fully welded onto each other. That is one piece of steel, unlike the other ones that have a trigger system. The way that that notch attaches there is poor. It's not getting enough resistance. It's not getting a good enough, strong enough bite. I mean, yeah, it works, but you shouldn't be able to just pull it off like that. I'll just show you a Pagani one for reference. So on Paganis, if you clip that into place, you cannot pull that off, or it's extremely difficult to do that just by pulling it. You have to get under it and go like that, because that is a trigger system. See how that moves? That is a trigger system. Whereas on this one, sorry, see? So you cannot just pull that off without getting your fingernail under there. But on this one, it is not a same type of trigger system. So you can easily just unscrew it. That there, that notch is not big enough, and is not substantial enough to lock it in position properly. But with a safety catch, is it really ever going to come loose? I don't know, but I would have preferred it like the Pagani personally. So that's going against it, but other than that, it's fine. The clasp has micro adjust and a diver's extension, but again, I think you get 3 notches. That's not enough. You should be able to get more. Should have get 4 or 5 in there. They should have, but they've not. And really, it should have an on-the-fly sliding adjustment, like a glide lock style. But for 36 quid, you're not going to get that, unfortunately, currently. So, because you have to remember, this watch is a 36 GB pound watch. So for that, the bracelet is fine for that price. So let's have a look at it on the wrist. So fits absolutely fantastic. It is 13.7mm thick, so it's a little bit more top heavier than some, but again, fits really good, and it's not heavy. I mean, the weight of the watch overall is probably around 140, 150 grams. So it's got a really nice weight, but it's not too top heavy like some are at that thickness. This would also look fantastic on a Jubilee style band. Now, I'm going to do a comparison of this and the Pagani soon, but ultimately, the question is the Paganis and the Parnis and so forth, are they worth nearly double the price to this? And that is a tough question. I'm going to say they are, but again, it just shows you what you can get for 36 GBP, 36 quid. You get the ceramic bezel, stainless steel case, stainless steel bracelet, unless the stainless steel is 304, but again, I'll check that out. But if it is 304, that means it's not a marine grade of stainless. Ultimately, unless you're sat in the sea for hours on end, is it ever going to rust? And I don't think it is. I think 304 would be fine, but obviously I've not verified that, but my feeling is a 304 grade of stainless would not easily rust, just because it's not got the added elements that 3016 marine grade has, or 904 grade has, that Rolex use. So you're not getting the water resistance of 100 meters, you're only getting 30 meters nominal, and you're not getting a sapphire crystal, and the bracelet's clasp is a little bit worse in terms of the safety of it, but that might not be an issue as it's got the safety catch, which even if it comes loose, and that's loose now, that is now detached. See, look. But if I put that on, that to pull that off is very, very hard. I mean, yeah, I've just done it then. But it would be unusual for that to just happen, even if I was swimming, which I would not do with this watch. So I'm not going to say it's a massive, massive problem. And again, you could, if you wanted to, switch the clasp for a gliding style clasp, or, a Pagani clasp. You could do easily. You could switch them out and get a better clasp, and it still wouldn't cost you the cost of a Pagani watch. So really, it's whether you're bothered about the water resistance and sapphire crystal. That's what it's whether you're bothered about. The overall finishing and quality is quite good on this watch. It is. It's quite good. I don't like the branding as much as other homages. I think the branding is crap. They've not bothered to sign the crown. They've not bothered to sign the clasp. It's just plain. The back is completely plain, but this is why it's only £36. This is why. That's in a sale price. It might go up to £45, I think, in the next few days. There is going to be a link below if you want to pick it up. But they've not done a bad job here. They have not done a bad job. I'm going to pick up another one, not from this manufacturer, but from another manufacturer that are claiming 100 meter water resist and are claiming a 12.5mm thickness. I'm going to pick one up and I'm going to review it for you. But this one, I'm going to say, is not bad. I will review the all black. Well, I'll do a comparison with this and Pagani, and I will review this, Pagani's version of this, with a Jubilee 5-link style bracelet, because that is just straight up insane how amazing that watch is. Okay, thanks for checking my review out. It's been Dave at All Important Reviews. Thanks a lot for all the recent subscribers. There's going to be absolutely loads more content coming up. Have a great day. Thanks a lot.